Hello everyone and welcome to another cooking session with me, Teacher Drea. Today I will be teaching you how to make soft tacos, burrito style. It's very easy to cook and prepare. Plus it's a Mexican treat I'm sure your family will love. So let's go ahead and gather the ingredients and the materials that we will need for today's recipe. Okay, to prepare for this recipe we will need some tomatoes, an onion, some garlic. We will need our cheese. I'll be using quick melt. And then our tortilla wraps. We will need a cheese grater like this, and then a taco seasoning. For mine, I'll be using McCormick. And then we will need a knife, a chopping board, a glass of water, and of course our ground beef. I will be setting that aside to defrost. Of course, we will need some Japanese mayonnaise like this one, and then some green leafy salad vegetables. First step, we need to slice our tomatoes like so. I will be slicing them into smaller pieces, and then I'll set them aside into a bowl. Okay, first let us peel our garlic, and then let us dice them into very small pieces. Let us finely chop them. And then let's set them aside to a smaller bowl. Now we will peel off the onion, and then we will slice it into smaller pieces as well. If you notice, I put a glass of water there. Now that glass of water is actually so that I don't hurt my eyes while I'm chopping off the onions, and this is a tip that actually helps me, so maybe it will help you too. Okay, so when you're done chopping that, let's set that aside into a smaller bowl as well. Then let us get a bowl where we will be putting our cheese. We will be grating our cheese onto that bowl. Make sure the cheese that you are grating is enough for your entire family, as this food that I will be making is for my whole family tonight. On a separate bowl, let us prepare our greens. Make sure to remove the ones that are no longer fresh and use just the ones that are fresh. And then the amount of greens will depend on the amount that your family will eat. Now it's time to cook our ground beef. So make sure to get a pan that's big enough, and then let's start that heat. Make sure that your heat is on medium, and then let's put some oil onto the pan. Let's wait for it to become hot. When your pan is finally hot, let us then add our garlic first. Let us cook the garlic until it becomes brown. Then let us put in your onions and cook them until they become slightly soft. Then let us put in your ground beef, and let's make sure to put all of that onto your pan. I used half a kilo for this one. Let us cook the ground beef until it becomes dark brown. We will cover this for at least 5 minutes so that it cooks perfectly. So make sure to pat it evenly onto the pan. Okay, so after 5 minutes, you can remove the cover, and then let's go ahead and mix it in. We'll be adding some salt and pepper to taste. The amount of salt and pepper that you put in is depending on how much you want. Then we will add in our taco seasoning. Again, for this one, I used McCormick, and the amount that you put is depending on how tasty you want it to be. The McCormick is a bit spicy, so it also depends on how spicy you want it to be. So okay, let's just keep stirring that so that the flavor goes around, and then we'll be covering that again for another 5 minutes just so the flavor goes in. So while that's cooking, we will now start prepping our tortilla wraps. I'll be using a smaller pan for this one where my tortilla wraps can fit. And then I don't need to put any oil. I'll just wait for the pan to heat up, and then I'll be putting my wraps one at a time. In the meanwhile, let's go ahead and check on that ground beef. Let's see, it looks good. It smells good too. When it's done, just transfer it to another bowl. Okay, so now that our smaller pan is already hot, let's put in one tortilla wrap. Let us just cook one side of it. It's technically not really cooking it, but making sure that it's a bit hot and that it browns a little before we flip it over to the other side. We will be doing this for all our tortilla wraps that we will be eating for tonight. And notice that sometimes it bubbles, that's fine. That's actually normal. So don't panic. Then let's go ahead and cook some more. Make sure that it browns a little on each side. Okay, so when all that's done, let's just put them into the table to eat. Now you'll just have to assemble this one by one as you eat it. Normally you need the pita bread first, then put the Japanese mayonnaise as the sauce all over, covering the pita bread, and then you put in the vegetable, then you add in your beef, and then you add in your tomatoes, and then let's put the cheese as the final topping. And then voila! Just wrap it up and it's time to eat. I hope you enjoy this Mexican treat that my family loves eating so much. Thank you all for watching.